So hello and welcome back to the Big Lab podcast. Today is episode 14 and I'm joined with Jeff, who I've been meaning to get hold of for quite a while. We've been following each other for pretty much since the start of my Instagram. So welcome, Jeff. How are you doing?
Very much. Thanks. Yeah, I think you were one of the first person I'd spoken to on Instagram, actually.
I think
So
probably around the same as me, really.
I'd started Instagram as a bit of an accountability suggested by my PT at the time, funny enough.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I think you certainly were in the sort of top 20 people, the first 20 people that sort of connected with us. So yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, it does go quite a way back. Yeah. And the thing is as well, Jeff had a previous Instagram account to the one he's got now.
I did.
And he went quite far away ahead of me followers wise, stopped that account. He started another one, and I think he's surpassed me again, and I'm still on the same account.
Yeah, sorry, George. Yeah, I don't
what are your tricks?
Well, seriously, I don't know why people follow me. We don't. But 5,000, nearly 5,600 do.
Yeah, you're definitely ahead of me.
Yeah, it surprises me all the time, that why people do it or whatever. I do support people.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I will comment and I will, sort of make a bit of banter, I suppose, with people. There's a few that I quite like commenting on their posts, and I do. There's one who is a real fitness guy who I always make a stupid comment, and I do it on purpose.
Is that?
It's a guy called Caesar who's down in West London.
All right.
Who is, he's huge.
Yeah.
But I just make stupid comments about, he asks a serious question, and I pick up on the fact that he's wearing a cap. And say something stupid, and he just cracks up, and so I just try and make it a bit of fun in a way
I think that's the best way for it to be.
In a nice way. But so why they follow this old boy, I've got no idea. But
well, I think that's probably one of the reasons why they do, because obviously the typical sort of influencer, as they call it these days, is sort of like, without being sly, quite a bit younger.
Yeah, thanks, George. I did notice that you're not the typical.
But if you look across Instagram, you are a bit different to the rest of.
Well, old, you mean?
Yeah, a little bit. if we're gonna say it bluntly, Jeff.
I'm not that old.
But yeah, I think that in itself is a big pulling power, because I think you probably inspire a lot more people than you actually think. Because
actually, people do say that, and I don't understand why. Funny enough, but Instagram's a bit of a strange one, and it is the only social media I'm on. But yeah, I obviously see there isn't that many guys in their 50s plus.
Yeah. Well, if you ask my mum or dad to be on Instagram, they wouldn't have a clue.
Well, nor did I.
Well, no, like my mum realised the other day that she had, I think, 3 Instagram accounts. And,
really?
Yeah, I didn't even realise it. I was like, I'm not even bothering teaching you.
Yeah. My youngest son is actually social media. That's his job.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, he has shown me a few sort of tricks and things. Although he sort of gets very dismissive of me, which is fine. So yeah, he's shown me a few bits, but yeah, I sort of ask, and he just looks at me in despair and go away.
I think it is good to see though, because like you say, there's not many people sort of 50s plus on Instagram, and especially doing fitness as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And my account isn't just all about that. A lot of proportion is about fitness and trying to show that you can do things even at this age.
Yeah. Well, I think your step count is probably higher than most people. 20s. It is ridiculous.
In the last couple of weeks, but yeah,
hitting about 20,000 steps a day, aren't you? Most days.
Some days, yeah. So I've walked something like 335 miles in the first 13 weeks of 2021.
Yeah, I'm quite a way off that, I think, Jeff. I think, let me have a look at my watch now.
I don't know how many I've done today. I haven't done many today, actually. I've been driving all day today.
I've done 2,100 today.
Well, you've done 2,000 more than me.
Yeah, just been sat at my desk.
Yeah. No, I picked up. My kids have got a problem with their car, so I went for a drive for 6 hours. Pick them up, bring them home.
Nice.
I'll take them back tomorrow.
Oh, put them on a train.
Yeah, I'm not that unkind. So yeah, social media, I think for me and Instagram particularly has just been by accident. So I did it originally as a bit of a joke, a bit of a laugh, some accountability. I originally went on a bit of a weight loss journey of and I don't like that word particularly, but went on this sort of weight loss thing. So just had it as accountability, and yeah, it's grown.
And you
But as I say, it's not just fitness. I do all sorts of stuff on there, from gardening to my walking to I'm a bit of a foodie and traveling and that stuff. So all of that stuff's on there as well. So
yeah, it's good to see.
I do sporadic bits of it.
Yeah. Oh, I've obviously I've enjoyed following you for the past 3 years, and yeah, it's been. I'm just glad we finally got a chance to speak.
I know, it's incredible, but yeah, it is incredible. You do comment on people's posts and they comment back, or you have a brief exchange about stories or sort of DMs and all that sort of stuff. But it's great when you do actually get to meet someone. And I know you've sort of been to various sort of fitness seminars and programs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
People. But yeah, it's good to put a voice to a name sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm sure we'll have to try and meet up at some point when all this sort of coronavirus has ended.
Yeah, sure.
Hopefully it's a bit nearer in the future.
I think so I have strong views on it with the whole thing. But yeah, I've had my first job. I've got my second one coming up.
Yeah.
I think for the UK, we've got to be vigilant from the differences overseas. We've just seen this one in India. What the impact of that is, I've got no idea. But yeah, I think we've been doing the right thing, and we will have waves the same as we have every year flu waves.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't think we can. I just don't think we can go to lockdown every time it happens.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think the scientists have been, in my view, too cautious. You've got the skeptics at one end, which I can understand why there is skepticism around it and certain things. And you've got the scientists at the other end saying, this has got to be this draconian measures. Don't really agree with that.
No, I don't think anyone does really, do they?
No. It's so hard, but I'm sure. Yeah, it will. I think we are seeing the way out of it. Certainly the UK.
Yeah.
I just
hopefully soon we'll be on holiday.
Yeah, I've got so many planned. We had
I bet you do.
We had so many cancelled. It was a bugger.
Yeah. Right. So we'll get into the meat of the podcast. And I think we'll start off because I don't think I knew about this until maybe a year into following you. And it's all about your heart operation, like you spoke about quite a few times, reasonably recently. So do you just want to talk us through what happened and why, and how you ended up, what your sort of procedure was?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So yeah, the first I sort of knew that I had an issue was back in 2010.
Right.
Work again. I collapsed at work.
Right.
And got carted off to A&E in London. I was working in the city at the time. Got carted off to a hospital, and they did various tests, ECGs and all that sort of stuff, and actually said there's something really wrong with your heart. You need to get it checked out. And it turned out that the valve, my main valve, my aortic valve, was leaking. And if you imagine a Mercedes badge, car badge, that's what an aortic valve looks like.
Okay.
So the three flaps, if you like, of your valve open, let blood through, close behind it, and it pumps the blood around your heart, from your heart around your body. One of the flaps in my heart wasn't working properly, and they didn't know why, but something had been going wrong with it. And so 8 months of tests, cameras, swallowing cameras, and
nice.
ECGs. I know, yeah. Had that 4 times with relief, and ink injected into you, being hooked up to machines while it completely looked at your whole system of how it was operating.
Yeah.
All sports stopped. So I was playing squash 3 times a week. That had to stop. Wasn't allowed to lift any shopping even. So I was told not to lift anything heavy, nothing at all. And had this sort of continual conveyor belt of testing. They felt that because I was only late 40s, they didn't want to operate. They knew that it would come at some point, but didn't want to operate at that time. And sort of said, we'll just keep monitoring you, see what is going on. Couldn't quite explain why it happened and what was going on. They said it could be from childhood, sort of deformity, if you like, of the heart. Some people have this as a deformity in the heart, but they wouldn't know until they operated. 2 years later, early 2012, I started having what they thought was heart attacks. In fact, it was something called pericarditis, which is the lining of your heart gets an infection, and it acts as a heart attack. And at one stage, when they were, I had blues and twos taking me into hospital, I had stopped breathing in the back of the ambulance, so they had to resuscitate me. But I was having trouble with walking and talking, so I couldn't talk and walk on my mobile phone. My lungs were filling with fluid, legs were really swollen with fluid, and things just really deteriorated. So eventually, at the end of 2013, they consented to surgery, and in February 2014, I had a mechanical valve replacement. So I tick very loudly. But my I don't know if you want me to go into a bit of graphic here, but my heart was removed for 9 hours whilst they operated on it. I was on a heart-lung machine.
Wow.
And they replaced the valve in the heart, the tissue valve, the natural tissue valve, with this mechanical valve.
Right.
Which acts as as a sort of the pump, I guess, for the main artery.
Yeah.
They then do an autopsy on the piece that they've removed, of course, like to see what had gone on. And it was actually venom that had been eating my heart away. I'd been years in my 30s, I'd been bitten by a spider.
And you turned into Spider-Man.
Yeah, I fired. and the venom had just gone into my heart and had started eating.
So that had literally been happening for
like 10 years.
Wow.
8 years, like that.
That's crazy.
I know. So yeah, it was lucky that I guess it wasn't very pleasant, but it was lucky that I sort of had this thing at work, collapsed, got taken off, and they sort of said, yeah, you better get this checked out.
Wow.
So yeah, it was scary at the time.
I can imagine.
The sort of weeks leading up to it of going into hospital and them describing what they were going to do.
Oh, so you actually knew that your heart was going to be... Wow. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine.
And that we would try and bring you back to life was one of the phrases. Thanks, guys.
Nice one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. I didn't really want to know that.
Wheel me in.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it was. I got to the stage just prior that I thought, actually, I'm not going to survive this. you know,
Right.
that is far too scary.
Yeah.
You know, what are they talking about? They're going to take my heart out. What do you mean?
Yeah.
But of course, these guys, I was really lucky. I live in Cambridge, so Royal Papworth isn't very far away. And that was one of the heart transplant centres of the world.
So in good hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So the surgeon I had was at the time was number 2 in the world for heart surgery, just on the NHS, just by luck.
Yeah.
And they see this as routine. They do these operations all the time, and there's loads of us who have got it. You know, with either the mechanical. If you're older, funny enough, they don't put the mechanical in. They put bovine, either a pig or a cow tissue back. Particularly if you're older, because it's easier for the body to accept it, and not on so much medication. And now they've introduced a third one for even older people that's not even opening up the sternum, cracking it open. To get to the heart, they go in through the armpit and insert something into the heart.
All right. So like a keyhole sort of.
Yeah, that replaces the valve. So it doesn't replace it as such, but it puts in a like a balloon thing that helps the whole thing work.
Wow.
So it's amazing, this technology that's coming along all the time. So yeah.
So what was the recovery like with that? Like what time scale are we talking before you could sort of do normal things again?
Yeah. So I was in hospital 5 days.
Only 5 days?
Yeah.
You had your heart removed and you were only in for 5 days?
Yeah. Wow. I was up walking within. So I came round from the surgery and came around on the ventilator. So I had a ventilator. The following day, I was monitored overnight. First words I uttered was, "I'm hungry, can I have a lasagna?" Which they got for me, would you believe?
Oh, nice.
Taken onto the main ward the following day and up walking the following day. So they get you up
within like 2 days. Wow.
Get you walking up a flight of stairs.
Oh, to make sure everything's sort of working.
You can do it, yeah. And so 5 days and out. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after that, my heart wasn't coping with it, and I went into something called AF.
Is that arterial fibrillation?
Fibrillation, very good, yeah, very good. Which meant they would have to stop my heart and restart.
Again?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So how did they do that with the sort of the zapper thing? The what? Sorry.
They're lined up.
Right.
So they injected me to basically stop everything, slow everything down and stop it.
Wow.
And they injected me, and I had 2 strokes. I had to stop that.
Jesus.
Yeah, so they had to stop all that. And
did you suffer any sort of damage from the strokes, or?
I lost strength in my right for a little bit. It's all back.
Oh, right, it's back now.
So my right eye is still a little bit weak, but I had a clot in the left hemisphere of the brain, or it got stuck in my neck. And in fact, that's what was causing the AF.
Right.
Was it stuck in the valve?
Oh,
when they injected me, it released the blood clot out of the valve and got stuck in my neck and caused the left hemisphere stroke.
Christ, you've been through some stuff, haven't you?
I know. Anyway. So the only request they made of it after the surgery was that I built up to an 8-mile walk. I had to plan my own routine, but to get to an 8-mile walk. And I was so determined to do that within, I think it was 3 months of the surgery, I'd achieved what they'd set out for me. And then I went into rehab. They do a rehab program for all heart patients. Right. And I don't know how widespread that is actually, but certainly in this area, North Essex, which is just on the border, and Suffolk, I know that they have this rehab program for 16 weeks.
And so what's that then? What does
that's gym work, and to talk about your issues, from medication through to whether or not you were nervous about anything, or
I can imagine you were.
well, yeah, slightly. And yeah, it's sort of it's a program to sort of get you moving again.
Yeah.
I ended up staying for longer than 16 weeks because I took over some of the classes. So I was actually helping people and showing people what to do on the equipment. And when the instructor wasn't there, I led the class. So
Nice.
I was doing that, I suppose, on and off for about 6 months. You know, if they wanted a day off or they had the week off or whatever, instead of the class just being cancelled, I stepped forward and said I'll do it. So yeah, that was pretty good. And then was signed off by the surgeon, and the attitude was, yeah, you can just go and live your life. There's a couple of things I'm restricted in, but yeah, so I because I've been enjoying being back in the gym and started using gym equipment, that's why I thought I'll join the gym and just carry this on.
Yeah. So we're talking, you got signed off 2014, did you say?
So signed off in June 2014. Still had some of the side effects of the transgenic attacks. So, and was then in rehab in 2015. So yeah, this was around about in mid to end of 2016, I guess.
And then you joined the gym and just started going to the gym sort of full time.
Yeah.
And then started your Instagram 2018.
So it was strange. It took me 2 weeks, which the biggest thing I noticed after the surgery was my confidence. So
I can only imagine.
I was always a confident bloke, and would chat to anybody. You know, sort of didn't really, nothing really fazed me at all, ever. After the surgery, I was bursting into tears, was, you know, an emotional wreck, really. And my confidence was just horrendous. It was just non-existent. It took me 2 weeks to get out of the car and to go into the gym to ask about membership.
Oh, so you'd been turning up for 2 weeks and just driving?
Yeah, sitting in the car for up to an hour and then just driving off.
Oh, wow.
Get the courage to go inside.
Yeah.
Anyway, did, and yeah, started doing bits and pieces on my own, bit of cardio on the bike, and I'd been to the gym and done some lifting with friends of mine who was a power lifter back when I was sort of early 30s. So I knew certain things about, you know, weights and stuff. And in June 18, started talking to one of the PTs there, and so started working with him.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, because I wanted to lift correctly, of course, but also I wanted to lose some weight. You know, I'd piled on, because of the inactivity, I'd piled on about 2.5 stone, I guess, while I was waiting for surgery.
Yeah, I can imagine if you were doing like three lots of badminton each week and then
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And funny enough, it was squash, but squash was one of the things I was not allowed to do anymore as well. So
so one of the things you enjoyed doing.
Yeah, so this game that I love playing was off the agenda. So,
and you're still not allowed to play now? What reason's that?
Because it's too much pressure. So I can play badminton. I'm allowed to play badminton and can play badminton.
Right.
Squash is off the agenda. And I'm not allowed to do any close physical contact sport. So I'm not
in case you get nudged or something.
Yeah, not allowed to do martial arts or boxing or football or rugby or whatever.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the restrictions in the gym, I'm not allowed to do planks, which I'm glad about.
Yeah. not too fussed about missing them ones.
But I had trouble doing anything when I'm face down. So press up find really difficult, just purely because the valve doesn't seem to like it.
Oh, so it's a right. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not allowed to do them. It's just when I'm sort of faced, even doing chest supported row,
Yeah.
where I'm sort of leaning at that
Leaning
angle,
against it. Yeah.
it seems to be because I'm leaning on it, the valve sort of, I can feel it sort of going crazy. It gets louder and louder. And,
All right.
you know,
Oh, so you can actually feel it, like you can hear it.
Yeah, I hear it all the time.
So what does that? What's it? Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Does it get faster as your heart rate gets faster?
Yeah.
That'd be so weird.
I got stopped at airport security once. This is not word of a lie.
Don't tell me they thought it was a bomb.
They thought, well, he didn't know what it was. So I have to carry it. I've got my wallet there. I have to carry a little card that has my surgery details in it.
And it's that loud that other people can hear it as well.
My wife used to hear it all the time. She doesn't hear it now.
I got used to it.
Well, at first, the heart tissue has to grow over it.
Oh, so I imagine it was quite loud to begin with then.
It grows on the outer ring of it.
Yeah.
To keep it in place. So the tissue sort of grows over it. But so it used to rock after the surgery, first of all, in the heart. And it's just really loud. She used to hear it all the time. Wow. And so if my heartbeat started faster, and this thing would go louder and louder, she'd say, no, you're all right. Yeah, can you hear your heart? What's good?
That's mad. I didn't know. I never realised they were that loud.
Yeah. Some people. There's a chap on the corner who's had one. He had his. It must be 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And he still is. He's still.
Once you've got it done, is that like you don't have to get it swapped out for another one or at any point?
I guarantee it for 15 years.
Oh, so there's a potential chance.
Yeah, but they've never said that.
Right.
It should outsee me, I think.
Hopefully.
Go through that again.
Yeah, well, I couldn't imagine. I don't think it'd be any easier second time round either, would it?
But it's amazing, the sort of rehab and all that sort of stuff, and talking to people who were in my position prior to surgery.
Yeah.
I've sort of been connected with quite a few and tried to help them understand what would happen. So I've not given graphic detail unless they want it.
Yeah.
But just trying to reassure people, and that's been quite good actually. It's been good for me to try and see it from their point of view and try and help them.
Sort of giving back from what you've experienced.
Yeah.
That's really good. I've actually found that really interesting. Because I knew you'd obviously been through the heart surgery, and I knew that there's something to do with the spider, but I didn't realize it was so long before anything even happened. I thought like you literally got bit by a spider, things went wrong, and then next minute you're having heart surgery.
No.
Wow.
No. I must have been 30. I reckon I was about 38, 39 when I was bitten by the spider. So
literally like 2000 sort of.
Yeah. So yeah, about that.
Yeah, back when I was in nappies still nearly. Actually, no, I was 4 years old. I wasn't in nappies in 2000.
Yeah.
But so moving on to a bit more the fitness side of things, then. I imagine quite a lot of people will be interested about this because obviously you get told as you get older it gets harder and things like that. So what is fitness like at 60? Do you have to sort of stay away from certain exercises? Do you have to have more rest days?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing I've noticed is tiredness, funny enough. So it certainly takes you longer to recover.
Yeah.
As you get older, of course. You do slow down.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it certainly takes you longer to recover. So my in between my sets, the time before I can go again is slightly longer than average, I guess. So where people might have a minute and a minute and a half, I'd take 2 minutes.
Yeah, so nothing too drastic then.
No, it's not like it's not like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But certainly, before the first lockdown, I was working out 5 days a week, and was getting more and more tired. It was building up the tiredness.
Yeah.
Now gone back, I'm only doing 4 days a week. So yeah, longer to recover, certainly. I think mobility, I think you guys are mostly clued up when it comes to mobility and posture and all that sort of stuff. And your experience at George sitting over a laptop at work doing homework things,
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, my well, not my posture necessarily. My lower back really suffers from sitting down all day.
I had upper rounded shoulders.
I try and sit down like up as much as I can, but I seem to get it in my lower back.
Right.
Like, I've always struggled with that though, like even when I was sort of college.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's necessarily from sitting down, but yeah, definitely sitting down all day doesn't help anything.
But certainly, the stuff about, have 5 minute break and get up and move around and all that.
Yeah.
Not really when I was younger in an office.
Never happens, does it? Like they say, get away from your screen. I think it's for 15 minutes every 45 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, when's that going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. Like you've got back-to-back meetings. It's got no chance.
But I think so. So mobility has been a big one for me to work on.
I have noticed you've been posting a bit of mobility recently, haven't you?
Yeah, and I actually do 15 minutes on mobility before every workout.
Yeah, so I try and get as much done as I can, sort of thing.
Yeah, just really to help open the hips up and try and strengthen glutes or in upper back, or pulling the shoulders back and all that sort of stuff is harder as you get older. To actually put that squeeze in when you're doing something on back day, it is harder.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've noticed that as well during lockdown. Sort of my hip flexors have been so much more tight because obviously I'm already always sat in this position. So as soon as I go and play like football or anything like that, it just feels so much tighter. So I have to warm up so much more and get the foam roller right into my hip, and it's so painful.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anybody's watching this thinking, where do I start or whatever, it's it is look at stuff, or it is actually get professional advice is what I would ask. What I would suggest, and get a routine of exercises, and don't think you're going to be able to touch your toes within a week. It's taken since June 18 for me to at least have this a bit more open and be able to bring my shoulder blades back, and still got trouble with that. But it does take the time. But I feel, sort of every week or so, things get better. That I can bring my leg up higher, or I can, sort of I move better. My ankles are more stable. My balance is better. So it's
marginal gains, isn't it? They all add up. It's marginal gains, isn't it? And they sort of all add up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing's going to happen sort of overnight.
No.
You've got
and then I was to say the other thing was joints as you get older, of course. So you do seize up a bit more, I think, as you're older.
Yeah.
Well, I find I do, and that's part of the recovery. And I think it's the education of it all. Funny enough, again, I think younger guys and girls who are into fitness know much more about nutrition than
but it's so much sort of readily available, isn't it? With like the internet, like it's not too far away. You can search something and find it within seconds.
Yeah, sure. So for me, it's been a bit of an education in terms of all of that stuff. I didn't know, the balance of macros or what I was supposed to be doing, or no idea. And I must say, the biggest learning curve for me is actually having the right form and the right posture and the right, tempo. when I first used to go back in my 30s to work out with this guy, as I say, was a powerlifter. No warm up, no, straight into lift 180 kilos deadlift.
Wow.
Like, and nothing about keeping your back and your hips, the hip flex, none of that. It was, see, you can lift that, that was it. So yeah, all of that sort of education has benefited, I think, but also it's been the hardest part altogether. Is just from an age factor of actually feeling like you're starting from scratch and having to learn about your food, and having to learn about your mobility, and having to learn about your form and all that sort of stuff. And so I've had a really patient PT. He's been fantastic. He's told me and told me again, and still he has to tell me. So, comments on my post saying, "What the bloody hell are you doing on that one? That's not how I've told you."
Well, that's the thing. It's all a learning process, isn't it? And it's never too late to start. And I think you're a very good case of that. And it just goes to show that it isn't too late to start if you want to.
I agree. That anybody who sort of has issues about weight or their mobility or their flexibility or have got aches and pains or whatever, it isn't too late. And there are people older than me on Instagram. I see them. And some of them have got really good, sort of definition and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's never too late to start. And even if you do it to the best of your ability, that eases that niggling pain in your back or in your knee or in your elbow or whatever it is, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a positive thing. It makes you feel good, I think.
Yeah, and like you say as well, there are professionals out there that can help you, whether it's a physio, whether it's a personal trainer. There's everything out there these days. It's not hard to find one in your local area as well.
No, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I think you've just got to almost have the humility to say that you don't know and go and ask and speak to someone. Because if you don't, you're just going to stay in the same place.
Yeah, I think finding the right person that you can work with and the right knowledge. There are so many PTs, and you see it on Instagram.
There's a load these days.
Oh my goodness, no way could I work with that person. But also, now I've got some information. I look at their form and think, what? That's horrible to say, but
yeah, there's a lot of questionable stuff out there these days, especially when it comes to I think glute workouts is the one that annoys me the most with these bands. It's like you're doing a warm up, not a workout.
Absolutely. I mean, so funny enough, I do glute work, band work.
Exactly. Yeah.
To get my flexibility in my hips, but
quite often you are working your hip flexors more than your glutes in these exercises.
Yeah. So I would just say to people, it's not too late. But if you are going to seek advice, you've got to work with somebody that you get on with. You can have a bit of a banter, a bit of a laugh, but also you've got to test them to make sure they know their stuff.
Yeah. Because to be fair, I've said it, like, although I'm doing my PT qualification at the moment, I think it is so easy to get hold of a qualification these days. You pay $1,000, you do the 2 courses online all yourself, and then you do 2 assessments, and that's it.
Absolutely.
It's like you see, especially when I see like young kids these days that have probably only been going to the gym maybe a year themselves, then going straight into a gym and working as a PT. I'm like,
how's that working?
one, you're like 16 to maybe 18, and you want to go and train someone who may be like 35, 40. It's quite a hard sell to begin with. Obviously it's possible. I'm not saying like an 18-year-old can't go and do that, but from an experience point of view.
It's just check them out. That's what I say. Look for what success they've done.
I think Instagram's a good place to start now these days, isn't it?
But ask other people as well.
Yeah.
What they think of Joe over in the corner, or listeners over there as the PT. What they like. Have you seen them, and actually observe them talking to customers. and I think that's a good way.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? You can know all the information, but you could have really bad interpersonal skills.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same as picking, a builder. You wouldn't or a plumber. You wouldn't let anybody come into your house. You want to check them out on Trustpilot, or you want to check them out on Trade or whatever.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
That's the thing as well, because if they don't quite know the stuff, you're going to potentially be in a worse off position, because if they don't quite know how to teach you the proper form or anything like that, then you could end up quite seriously, injuring yourself quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So never too late.
Yeah, definitely.
I think as well, being older, the final point I want to make on that is be clear over what you want.
Yeah.
So I actually do set myself goals, and I do talk those through with my trainer to actually see whether or not they're sensible, achievable, smart.
Yeah.
But I do set myself a number of goals and look at ways in which I want to focus. So mobility is still a big one for me. I still want to do that. I want to work on 2 specific areas this year. So my program is designed a bit around that to help target those specific areas. The walking is one that you mentioned.
Absolutely smashing the walks.
So that's one of mine. I've been really bad on nutrition of late. I've lost 9 pounds since January, which is fine. But that's way off my target that I wanted to lose. So mine is to get my nutrition back under control and start tracking. I don't like the word diet, funny enough.
Everyone's got a diet. That's the thing.
I think diet is a word that people think it's restrictive, it's entertaining.
It doesn't have to be.
Absolutely. So I always talk about nutrition. Getting nutrition and tracking that and enjoying it. You did. You say about cheat meals.
Yeah, I don't agree with them.
Nor do I.
And it's one of the most annoying things that I see on Instagram.
Yeah. Why is it a cheat meal?
Yeah.
As long as you plan for it or you have it, and so what? You're not going to get fat in one day, are you?
Oh, exactly. The thing is as well, if you're calling it a cheat meal, it says to me that you don't actually enjoy your diet that you're on.
Yeah, I agree.
So, because if you enjoyed what you were doing, you wouldn't need it.
Oh, absolutely. You demonize it.
Yeah.
You're absolutely demonizing it. So what's the point?
Yeah, you're demonizing food that you enjoy. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But just because The Rock's sat there with like 20 pancakes stacked up, everyone thinks I need to do that. That's what, if he's doing that, I need to do it. And it's like, no, it's not. have maybe 2 pancakes, but track them.
Yeah, this guy's a mountain.
Yeah. That's what I said in that video as well. I said we're about the same height and he dwarfs me.
So yeah, I one of my failings is I'm not consistent enough with my nutrition, and it's not being restrictive. I just need to be clever, I guess, or smarter around the whole thing. So yeah, I have 6 goals that I want to either achieve or maintain this year. Review them on a regular basis. I had some feedback off a neighbour and my wife who didn't know I was standing where I was standing, talking about weight I'd lost.
All right.
This neighbour said, "Your husband's looking very skinny, and why is he losing this weight?" To which my wife returned and said, "Yeah, he wants to lose more, and I'm not sure he should." So yeah, I've taken that into account. If she doesn't want me to be that skinny as well, I don't want to upset her in terms of, she's all of a sudden seeing me just go down an avenue that she doesn't particularly want.
Yeah. You just have to get absolutely jacked instead.
That is I wish it would. It never happen. I haven't got the right genes. but yeah, it's yeah, have those goals, have those ambitions,
Yeah.
just be realistic and review them.
Yeah, I think enjoyment's key as well.
It is.
That's the main one, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be, because if you're not enjoying it, if you're seeing it as a chore, if you're seeing it a bind to, oh, I've got to go to the gym now, and I've got to get on the bike, or I've got on the treadmill, or I've got to lift these weights, and I really don't want to do it, then you've got to question yourself.
Yeah, you've got to find what you enjoy. There's so many things that you can do in the gym. It doesn't just have to be weightlifting. It can be circuit training. It can be powerlifting. It can be CrossFit. There's so many things. And it doesn't even have to be going to the gym. You could go and do another sport. Like find something that you just enjoy doing that's going to keep you fit and healthy.
Yeah, mate of mine cycles.
Yeah.
And he's lost huge amounts of weight. He really has. I saw him last weekend, and I said, "Oh, how's the cycling going?" Yeah, did 75 miles last night.
All right.
After work, for an hour or two. Oh, right, okay. You just think, crikey, so yeah, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff. Even if you walk, that's a good start. And actually getting that as your steps in, not even the 10,000. If you're a walker and just want to get out, get out and take some photographs and whatever on your phone, or just go and enjoy the countryside, or seaside, or whatever, and just build it up.
Yeah, definitely. Like the amount of headspace as well that you can get from just going on a walk, putting a podcast on, or even just putting your phone on silent. That's what I've tended to do recently. I just put my headphones in, listen to a podcast, sometimes my own, and put my phone on mute and just walk and just switch off.
Yeah, it's good. How's your knee, by the way?
Frustrating. I can walk pretty much normal again.
All right, good.
It's just a bit uncomfortable. Like I don't know what's going on, but it just feels like slightly uncomfortable.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I've not done like this week as well. It's been such good weather, and all I've wanted to do is go for a walk. But I've noticed that every now and again when I go for a walk, it sort of swells up a little bit and just feels a bit restricted. So I've been basically the couch potato. I've been going to the gym, but yeah, it's it's just it's not too comfortable. But I start my rehab on Friday, which I'm looking forward to. I've got a physio who was the head of physio at Liverpool for about 8 years until the last couple of years. So I'm quite looking forward to meeting him. I've seen on his Instagram as well, he's got an ex-Man United player who's had the operation, the ACL operation. But obviously I've not had it. I've managed to dodge the bullet for the second time.
So what do they think it is, or have you got
so how old must I have been? I reckon I was about 20 when it first happened. So basically I was running down the wing, some lad slide tackled me, but his whole weight went straight through my knee, which was planted in the floor. And I'd never felt pain like it was minging. And then because I was so young, I just never went and got it looked at because I just thought it was like a twisted knee or something like that. And then I had about 10 days off playing football and then went back and played because it was like right at the end of the season. We had a load of games backed up and I played every single minute of 10 games within 20 days. Wow. So we were literally playing like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for about 3-4 weeks. And then 2 years ago, I was playing football again, went to volley a ball. So there was no contact this time. And my weight went through my knee and I just heard this massive crunch. It was literally like the first minute of the game. Heard this massive, like horrible crunch. It made me feel a bit queasy. And I was like, oh, I could probably run it off. I just thought it was my knee cracking. Like where if you like sometimes you straighten out your knee and it cracks. I thought, it might have just been that. And it wasn't because I could hardly run. But I played the full 90 minutes of that game as well, which I definitely shouldn't have done. So that time I went and got the scan. They said, yeah, it's completely ruptured. I was like, cheers, great. But the thing is, so basically it all happened within about a week. So I went from a consultation on like a Tuesday. Thursday I had an MRI. The Tuesday I was back in for my results. And they said, oh, how's it been over the last week? And I was like, pretty much all right. A little bit of pain, but I'm walking normally now. And the the doctor just turned around and he was like, "What?" And I was like, then I was like, "What?" And he said, "Well, yeah, you've completely torn your ACL." And I was like, "Oh." He said basically because you've got a load of hamstring muscle, it's basically compensating for not having one.
Right.
So he said it's up to you. You can go down the surgery or rehab. And I was like, rehab, because I know like a few lads who I play footy with. They said they've had theirs done, and they said it's never been the same again. And I'm like, okay, I'll go down the rehab route, especially considering how quickly I was recovering from actually doing it. And then because I was working between like 2 jobs at the time, I never went and got rehab. I sort of had to just do it myself because I never knew what time I was going to finish work. So I basically just went on YouTube, searched the internet, did my own rehab, which went quite well because I was playing football. So it happened in January, and I was back playing football. I think it was April. So it was only about two months, sort of. And then this time round, so we're talking just over 2 years later, jumped up for a header, and as I've jumped, I've sort of landed and then gone like straight into a sprint, and I've just heard the same crunch again, and I was like, oh no! Like I felt like the same feeling, the same sound, felt sick, and I just went straight off that time. I was like, no, I'm not playing on. I was like, all the lads were going, "Do you reckon you can run it off?" I was like, no, I can't. I started getting undressed like on the side of the pitch. I was like, no, I'm not coming back on. It was only like an interclub friendly anyway. But yeah, that was 20 minutes into the first game back after 4 months, which was great. I had my consultation the other week, and I was surprised because they didn't send me for another scan because I was like thinking I might have done another ligament. But yeah, I've not had another scan. He sort of ran his hands down my knees and put me at like bent it and all in like pulled everything into different positions. He said, "Feels pretty solid," and I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Because this is the first issue I've had in just over 2 years, then he's willing to put me through rehab."
Right. Okay.
So that's on Friday, and I've got 6 sessions booked in. So yeah, hopefully it won't need too many more than that.
Yeah, it'd be good to get professional advice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm looking up on the internet or whatever, but yeah, to actually get that sort of professional hand, if you like, of guidance, of rehab and all that sort of stuff, and make sure you're doing it right.
Well, I said to him, like, who would you recommend me to go to? And he said, I reckon this, his name's Andy Renshaw. He said, he's one of the best in the country for it. I was like, I'm going to him. I was like, wherever he is, I'm going. And luckily he's only in Manchester, so I can go into the office and then just go to the sort of facility.
Good stuff.
But yeah, he's had all sorts of people through. Like, obviously, he used to deal with the whole Liverpool team, so I'm sure he's seen some. I'm sure he's seen some injuries over the years. But yeah, apparently he's one of the best for ACL rehab. So hopefully this is the end of knee issues. But I've got hopefully quite a bit of life ahead of me. But
we might always have a little bit of a weakness there, of course. But it's how it's a bit like I was just talking about mobility and trying to reverse some of the stuff that years of abuse, if you like, of rounded shoulders and not really doing anything to help.
Yeah.
You're more likely to always have to do something to make sure flexibility is there, ability is there. But the sooner you get that mindset, I know you're really good, George, in terms of putting your mind to stuff and you're getting it done. Yeah. So I've got no doubt you will. But to actually have that professional stuff and make sure it's
that I think that's what I need. Like obviously when it happened the first time, they said to sort of work on your hamstrings loads. So basically, especially over last lockdown as well, when we were working out from home, I was doing like quite a few hamstring exercises per leg workout, like twice a week. But yeah, I think it's the directional stuff I need to work on more than anything. But yeah, we'll get there. I had a load of messages, people like especially all the footy lads asking me if I was okay and stuff. And I was like, I'm fine. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. So what's the point in getting down and upset about it? Like I'd already prepared myself for potentially having an operation anyway and not playing footy for 12 months.
Right.
So, yeah, dodged the bullet for the second time.
No, absolutely. I think if you can stay away from surgery, I know sometimes surgery has to be the solution, but I think if you can stay away from surgery, the better.
Yeah.
And if they think rehab is the answer to get it back into health, should we say, health, then that's the route you take.
Just,
always.
Yeah, I think at some point I'll probably have to have something done.
Sure. But
I sort of got that in my head that it's probably going to happen at some point. Like you say, there's always going to be a weakness there. And it's obviously putting pressure on other ligaments because of not having an ACL already. But yeah, just got to take things as they come and deal with it.
Good stuff.
It's an opportunity for some different content anyway.
Yeah. But that, I think, it actually just shows people as human, actually. Yeah, and that's I think is one of the failings of Instagram sometimes, that people obviously will post the best picture of their top off or they're pumped up or whatever. And that's fine up to a point. But actually people will follow, we started off on this point, but people will follow where you're showing your human side in a way.
Yeah, like actually being genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think you've probably seen a fair few of my drunk stories, walking home from the pub and things like that over the years.
Yeah. But yeah, I think people just want honest, genuine stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, no, good. I hope you do, because it'd be interesting to see, particularly about the rehab, because other people will get ideas as well, and actually saying, "Oh, I wonder if this will help, or stretching, or whatever."
Well, I've already spoke to Andy on Instagram and asked him, am I okay to bring my camera in and vlog it for YouTube? So he's given me the go-ahead for that anyway.
Good.
So yeah, looking forward to it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I think we'll wrap that up here. I think we've had a lot of value there.
Well, I hope so.
I really think it was. It was really good chat, especially after knowing you for so long and then going into so much detail. It has been really interesting.
Oh, good. And thanks for asking me. I say it's a first for me, so it's my sons are just saying, "God, Dad, what are you doing?"
This is only the 14th podcast I've done.
Oh, right, okay.
So before I even started this, I myself.
My youngest is in his job is marketing and social media, so he works for a company, but he does a Formula One podcast.
Oh, nice.
And he writes a basketball blog in the US.
Oh, right. How does that work?
I don't know. I just know he does it because he wins various awards for it and all that sort of stuff. Right. So yeah, he writes a blog out there, and I guess he does it from a Brit's point of view of American basketball.
That's interesting.
I don't know. But yeah, he'd just say, "Dad, what are you doing? What are you talking about?"
You have to send him the link.
Yeah, I will. I'll rub it in. Say, your old man's getting famous. No, thanks, George. It's been great. I've enjoyed it.
So no, thank you very much for coming on and sort of sharing your story.
Yeah, that's okay. Pleasure.
Thank you very much. But so if you've been watching on YouTube, make sure you drop a like, and if you're new, subscribe. Make sure you drop us a review down below as well. Same if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you drop a review. It helps my podcast reach more people. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one.